There are a lot of players talking a lot of rubbish about how Su is dead, how Lycan is no longer playable, how Beastmaster is now completely bad because Dominator has been nerfed and Necrobook has been nerfed. Nothing could be further from the truth. Let's take a look at Dota 2 Pro Tracker. This is a website that tracks replays from very high MMR pubs. So we can see here, scroll down, see the most successful heroes. And you can see Zu is very much alive. The top 4 heroes are Lycan, Visage, Meepo and Broodmother. So Lycan, yes, he has been nerfed, but only in his items. The hero himself is completely fine. He's the highest winrate hero. Now granted, he's not picked super often, so all these heroes are not the most popular, but when they're picked, they still have a very strong win rate, and this is still a fairly decent sample size, like almost 60% win rate over more than 300 games. That is very solid. And you see other micro heroes also doing well. Chen is still having a fairly high win rate. Arc Warden is better than ever, and some other heroes have definitely been nerfed. Like if you look for Beastmaster, he is now at around 50% win rate, whereas previously he was a lot higher. So now he's balanced. He's not dead, he's just balanced. Same goes for Lone Druid. He is, slightly below 50%, but still close enough. And, the hero is no longer overpowered, but he's fine. If you're an experienced Lone Druid player, you can still play Lone Druid just fine. He's just no longer overpowered. But I think Lycan is still definitely overpowered. Not quite as overpowered as he used to be, but still very strong. And oftentimes if a hero is as strong as Lycan was in last patch, people just don't really experiment enough with the hero. And people don't really discover things as much as they would if the hero were weaker. So people just were going for Necrobook because that worked out fine, and then they're just going for AC and all these standard Lycan items because that worked fine. So there was no need to innovate. But now that Lycan is a little bit weaker, some of the items have been nerfed, now we can see some more innovation happening. And most importantly here in this game, we're going to see Faith Beyond going for Dominator into Aghanims. And Aghanims has long been a very strong item on Lycan, but people just weren't going for it because they were winning without that anyway. So here we're going to see how powerful that item can be if you can get it early.
Lessons that cannot be unlearned.
Welcome to the Church of Obelisk. My name is Yon. So here we're going to see Faith Beyond playing Offlane Lycan in a very high MMR Chinese pub. And since he's going for Dominator, you see him buying 3 mangoes here. He's not going to have the mana regen of the Necrobook, so he needs to get his mana needs met somehow else, so he's going to go for these mangoes. And mango is actually still a really efficient item. Not just for the mana they provide, also just a good amount of HP regen on these mangoes. So definitely never be afraid of just getting a couple of mangoes at the start. Even though you're not going to eat them right away, they still provide a decent amount of regen. It's always nice to have them. And then the rest is just going to be regen and a Quelling Blade. Nothing fancy here. And this laning phase is just going to go pretty normal. You just want to get as many last hits and knights as possible, which you can do with your wolves. And here we can see Ogre Magi being a bit risky here, and now being surrounded by all these wolves and illusions, and he thinks he can somehow fight this. I'm not sure what he's thinking there. There's like no way he can win this fight, but he just still stays there. He could have cut his way free with some tangos, but he dies here and gives a nice first blood here to Shadow Demon. And by the way, in this game we're going to see the power of null talisman. When the patch came out, a lot of people said that these stat items were nerfed, but at least for the null talisman, I think it's actually a big buff, because it now has 0.6 mana regen, which is really efficient. So just look at what this item provides you. So you have the circlet, you have the Mantle of Intelligence, and then you have this 210 gold upgrade. What do you get for that upgrade? You get 3% spell amp and 0.6 mana regen. So it's basically like combining the circlet, the mantle, and then also a Sage's Mask, which costs slightly less than the upgrade here, but of course you're going to save 2 slots. And these 3 items are actually fairly efficient, like circlets and mantles, pretty efficient stat items, and then Status Mask also pretty efficient. So you're combining these 3 efficient items into one for a very, very low cost, only 35 gold, and on top of that you also get a 3% spell amp. So Null is an actually really efficient item in the current patch. And then we can see Shadow Demon having 2 of these null talismans with that first blood gold, and Ogre also started with 1 null talisman. We need some more aggression going on here with Shadow Demon. He's 1-1, he died once to this Ogre, but now he gets the revenge, and with these 2 kills it's a very dominant lane so far, and also in terms of last hits it's fairly even, so definitely a big advantage here for the Radiant in this lane. But of course you expect it against a Scepter. On the other hand though, Ogre of course is also a very strong laner. But against Shadow Demon is not that great, because you get all the stacked Shadow Poisons, and it doesn't really matter how much HP you have. A Shadow Poison just does so much if it gets stacked up properly. So they can try to fight here a little bit, but in the end they're not really going to come out on top. And you see Faith Beyond already purchasing a crown, and now he's going to go for that Helm of Ironville. So Dominator has a really good build up. Both the crown and the Helm of Ironville are really efficient items in the laning stage, but of course they don't give you mana, so he's going to have to use some of these mangoes soon. And what's the idea behind skipping Necrobook? Well, with the new patch, Necro 1 is really not that strong anymore. Previous Necro 1 was really good at farming, but Necro now generally is not that good of a farming item, it's more of a fighting item now. And really, if you want to go for Necro, you really want that Necro 3. That's really where it's at. But if you want to go for an early Aghanims, of course that's a very expensive item. You buy a 5k gold item, and then another 4k item with the Aghanim, so it's going to come out quite late. But instead you can just go for a Dominator and get a fairly efficient item at a much lower price tag. So Dominator 2.35, so that's a medium cost item, and this just allows you to get to your Aghanims much faster. And also just Dominator is a much stronger fighting item at the start. So Dominator is just generally better than the Necro 1. I mean, Necro 1 has a bit more DPS generally, but the Dominator just offers a lot more utility. We can get different groups depending on the situation. It's always up, and you can get some nice disable, and you can also get DPS boosting creeps like the Alpha Wolf if you need that. So it's just a much better item than Necro 1. So if you're not going for Necro 3, you might as well just go for Dominator. Spectre just left on a haunt, so now you can just take down this tower with the Helmet Smasher, which is a very efficient creep, gives a bunch of extra attack speed to your wolves, as well as of course having a decent amount of rifle damage itself, and then also providing the Thunderclap ability, which really helps with farming. Now he spammed this Harpy earlier, and I thought he was going to take it with the Dominator, which I would have liked, but instead he's just going to kill it. The Harpy is actually really efficient at this stage of the game, because her lightning ability is still very relevant at this stage, and it's night, so you get the extra night vision with that. But instead he's going to go and actually take over the Starcross Summoner, which I don't really agree with. You don't need to disable that much. I'd rather have the Helmet Smasher, but that's what he's going with, and they're going to get a kill on this very underfarmed Brewmaster. And now with only skeletons, they can take down this tower quite quickly. These skeletons do a lot of damage, and he only has 2 points in the Ferret Impulse right now, but still they get a decent amount of bonus damage, and they have a 1 second base attack time, so they attack quite fast. So this Starcross Summoner actually quite good at taking objectives. Spectre just started top against the Luna Ultimate, and now there's 4 people, the rest of the team coming in. They want to fight, and they tried to get some sort of good reverse polarity here, but it doesn't really matter, or doesn't work out. So they're forced to retreat against the Lycan Ultimate, and of course that's a good thing. If you can outrun the Lycan Ultimate, you can have a good time. And against this Panda Ultimate, it's quite difficult for Lycan to actually fight because of the Dispel, but it still goes reasonably well, mostly because they have a bit of a net worth lead here. So a Brewmaster being killed here, so they get 2 kills and don't really lose anything. So the Radiant getting further ahead. And of course, as always, after fighting with Shapeshift, you go back to farming until you have Shapeshift back up again. And in this game, it's gone for a power treads, which is a bit unusual to see this early on Lycan. But it's still cheaper to go for treads and Helm of Dominator than to go for a complete Necro 3. And you don't really want to go straight for the Aghanims because the components are not that strong on Lycan. On the other hand, treads is actually a very powerful fighting item. Doesn't help out your units, but helps you out your main hero a lot. Extra attack speed is quite nice with the ultimate. And just the movement speed is nice for farming and for fighting when the ultimate is down. Get another kill here on Scepter. Very nicely done here. But with more heroes coming in, it's not going to be a very easy fight. But he's going to try to focus down this Ogre. And he gets stunned, and the rest of his team is kind of dead, so he gets doomed as well. So he just gets the kill here, but still in the whole it's definitely a losing fight. Enemy team getting almost 1k gold lead out of that. Another nice thing that treads do for you is that you can tread switch now, which is quite important if you don't have a Necro because you don't have any extra mana regen. So with the treads and the wand or the stick here, you can actually do okay in terms of mana, and this allows you just to get to that Aghanim a little bit faster without having to go for any sort of mana item. They're pushing this mid tower, which is a bit questionable because you don't have a shapeshift up, and Lycan has just invested like 3k gold into an item that doesn't give him anything yet, but they do get the tower here, so all's good. However, at bottom, Luna pays the price and dies, so they lose their main carry. And Luna in this game has gone for a very greedy build. She's gone for Mask of Madness into Manta, and now she's going for Butterfly, so this is like full hard carry Luna going on here. But in this game it makes sense because she has this Lycan here. And Lycan is going for Aghanims, which is going to make this Luna so much stronger, and they're just going to invest everything into making this Luna as strong as she can be. So this is not the best fight here, no Shapeshifter is up, so this is not going to go well. Everyone dies here, and that is a complete team wipe. So that's a huge gold swing here, more than 2.5k gold, so that's pretty good for the Dire, but still they're still far behind. This Luna is having an incredibly good game, Lycan and Parker also having a good game, and then the Scepter is just completely underfarmed. She's just not doing anything in this game. At this point, unfortunately, Scepter disconnects, and also unfortunately Lycan gets ganked here by the entire enemy team, and he's gonna die just as his Aghanim Scepter was delivered. So let's talk a bit about what Aghanim actually does. It gives you this new ability, Wolf Bite. You can target this on an ally, and then they transform into a wolf, and they gain all the benefits that Shapeshift gives you. In addition to that, also they get 30% lifesteal, which is shared with Lycan. So if you bite Luna, then Luna becomes a wolf, and she has 650 movement speed, can't be slowed, gets some bonus night vision, which stacks with the night vision from Lunar Blessing, and she gets a crit as well. And then on top of that, with the Wolf Bite, you also get 30% lifesteal. So, and this lifesteal also is shared between the two units. So if you bite Luna, then Luna's life will heal Lycan if he's nearby, and vice versa. So this is incredibly powerful. Now that does make you into a melee hero, so Luna is going to lose some range, but she's a fairly low range hero anyway, so it's not too big of a sacrifice. And all the abilities still work perfectly fine. She still has the Clave, still has Loosen Beam and so on. You can see her now running in here with double damage and that Wolf Bite. You can see this lasts for a fairly long time. Also benefits from the talent here, from the Shapeshift Duration talent, which she doesn't have yet because it's not level 20 yet. Means the Luna just surrounded by enemies, but doesn't matter, she's so strong and just rips everyone apart. And Lycan doesn't even have ultimate, but it doesn't matter, they easily win this fight. Of course, partly this is because the Scepter actually is disconnected still, but even with Scepter here, they would still shred here with Luna, and now they can just go for the high ground and push this game to its conclusion. So they want to end right away, just go for the tier 4 towers. Of course these glaives do a lot of damage here, and just shred all these towers and any hero that walks nearby. You can see Shapeshifter is up, and Wolf Bite is going to be up in a couple of seconds. He doesn't want to bite Luna right now because she still has the Aegis. He wants to wait for the Aegis to pop, and then he's going to use Wolf Bite here to help her out. And now she's a wolf again, and they can go in here, and now they can just finish the game. But instead they want to play here, they want to dive and just try to have some more fun here rather than hit their objectives. And I mean, like, this is just dumb. It's just gonna prolong the game here. But of course it's fun to do that if you're the super powerful Luna with the butterfly and so on, and that wolf bite. But she's gonna get killed, and it's gonna be prolonged for a little bit more. And being perfectly honest, of course, in this game it doesn't really matter whether it goes for Aghanims or any other item. They were just really far ahead, and then Spectre disconnected. So at this point, like, any item is gonna do well. But I still definitely think that Aghanims is a very viable item if you have the right kind of core at your side, especially if you're playing Offlane Lycan. It's such a powerful ability. It just gives a super powerful ultimate to another hero. It also works really well with transformation heroes, so Dragon Knight and Terrorblade. If they transform, they get to be a wolf that has still a ranged attack, and this doesn't matter in which order you use the abilities. So Terrorblade especially is like really powerful with that wolf bite. With any sort of hard carry that tends to get kited, that does a lot of right click damage, wolf bite is great if it's a melee hero or it's a transformation hero. So you don't want to buy this with like a sniper in your team or something like that. But in my kind of game, Aghanims is incredibly powerful, and I think it's a really underutilized resource that people are now going to explore more now that the standard Dominator and Necrobook has become a little bit weaker. If you're new to the channel, please join the fold by subscribing and clicking the bell for more up-to-date educational content on Lycan and various other micro heroes. And if you want to see some more Lycan content, click on the videos on the screen, and always willing, I'll see you there.